recently, so we'll definitely dive into it. Well, I think we can kick it off. I mean, Josh, you look ready. You're the main guest, the belle of the ball.
Yeah, I just don't have a mic stand, so I'm holding this awkwardly. So and then I've got Odin in the background licking his balls. Sorry about that. That's my Frenchie.
All right. Well, Josh, do you mind giving a little introduction here?
Yeah. Yeah, so I started my real estate journey 3 years ago. 2.5, 3 years ago. So got out of the military after an 11-year career. I was a tabbed officer. I wasn't in battalion, Ranger battalion or anything. But I served in Korea, Fort Stewart, Light Brigade back when that was a thing, and then the 173rd, and then finally here in Florida as a Ranger instructor, which was awesome. But that was my final year out, and then I kind of just stayed in the Panhandle and got into real estate. The first thing I did, I told myself I was in Italy for 5 years. It was a lot because we're just constantly just going out to different countries, training, doing all kinds of stuff. Got here, told myself I wanted to buy a house, bought my first property with a VA loan, and then Airbnb'd a room out. I did that in Europe, kind of got the idea from that. And I was like, man, you can be a live-in host. And then some of these guys I'll just try one room. Didn't want to do the long-term thing because no one wanted to pay like $600-700. And I'm like, that's a steal. This is a pretty nice house. And so did that, saved up for the next one, moved out of the house as quickly as I could, bought the next one, put air mattresses in it because I just couldn't afford furniture or anything because I used an FHA loan. And, military, like I was broke in the military. I was just completely zero funds, like no safety net whatsoever. And I somehow conjured that first year after I bought that first house with the VA loan, about 13 grand for the down payment on my second home, which had a fourth bedroom. And then I was like, damn, I took out a furniture loan, waited 2-3 months for the furniture to come in, put air mattresses in, and then rented rooms out for like $25 a night. And, of course, you don't pay your mortgage that first month, sometimes even that second month. And then, from there, I partnered up with someone else, bought another house, then had enough money to use an investment loan, put down 20%, and then bought another house. So I'm at 6 now, and I can kind of get into the weeds of like acquisitions, but and then I got my license after my first house. I was like, man, I want to be smart on being able to, present deals or offers, buy using myself, and then sell using myself because I plan on buying a lot of properties. And the rest is history. My first year in real estate, I was a Coldwell Banker National Rookie of the Year. They had me on a stage, talking on a worldwide stage, which was awesome. And then my second year, second year, number one agent in the office. And then third year, switched to EXP just because it was better for my business and still doing really well. So I plan on to continue to buy at least 2 to 3 properties a year moving forward. And then maybe I'll sell a few just to scale up. But here I am now.
Well, thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
I invited you because you've been crushing it, been following your career since we met you. So it's pretty awesome to see.
Yeah, from the beginning.
From the very beginning, yeah, when Josh came over to our disaster house and we were all just like broken dreaming. I love it.
That's where it starts.
Yeah. So question for you. When we met, I remember talking like why you decided to get out and how like a lot of your buddies in the Army were like, what the hell were you doing? Because you got out as a major, right? And you were over the crest. Like it was, I would say, like not necessarily downhill from there, but like you could have retired if you stayed not too much longer. So why did you decide to like forego the retirement and get out?
Well, I had 9 years left, and 9 years is a lot of time. And all the way up the entire 11 years, I felt like my entire life I was just working my ass off. And I'm like, I'm ready for it to be quantifiable and directly correlate to money. right? So up until that point, I was trading time for money. And it's like, oh man, you're making a good paycheck. And that's what they tell you, right? And that's what you think. And you're like, oh, I'm doing all right. And then you look at your finances and you're like, well, I'm just getting taxed more, because your first 6 months, it's all going to the government. Even though you get that $2,000 at the end of the year, like they took a shit ton of money from you up until that point. And if you're, W-2 employee. So I was just kind of, I wanted more time, and I saw myself, even if I continued that the rest of those 9 years, as just wasting time for a pension, when I could just get out right now and get 100% disability, which is where I'm at now, tax free, and then start other ventures and learn how to make passive income, essentially money while you sleep. Because if you can't learn to do that, you'll work for the rest of your life, unless you just have like an insane job and then, a really good CPA. And in that case, you need to just buy real estate and then at that point, you'll be making money while you sleep. But that's really like one of the only like hacks to get out of that. They call that the rat race.
Yeah, I totally agree. People ask me that all the time, like, why real estate? And I think it's for service members, it is their best route to building wealth.
Yeah.
Especially because, unlike Mac, right? The rest of us have few academic credentials when it comes to real estate. So
yeah, he's ready to go though. I could tell.
Yeah, you should see his spreadsheets, his Johns Hopkins spreadsheets. They're insane.
Yeah, I got a little nerdy down the rabbit hole with them. I want to learn more about like retail, industrial, not so much office space nowadays, but we spend a lot of time talking about multifamily, but there's a whole other world out there with all the different kinds of property types. Not that I want to detract from this conversation, because this is great stuff too.
Yeah, and I like, a lot of people are like, oh man, what's your return, your ROI, your return on your investment on, this property and that property, and a lot of times it's like 100% return, right? Because I mostly try to buy my properties at a, as a residential home, as a primary, right? And so like when you buy it as a primary, and that's the biggest piece of advice I can give to military people that are still in, is you guys need to be buying at every duty station at a minimum, right? And then renting it out when you leave. But if you can buy every year, that's what, if I could go back, I would just do that and then just save every year and buy, right? And I'll teach you guys, and I'll talk about like the ways that you can kind of acquire and get more income to be able to do that. But every house you buy is an investment, and the cheapest way to get it is the VA loan. And so if you think about this, if you can take someone else's money, doesn't matter if it's a 7% interest rate, buy something and own it 100%, and use debt, right? Use leverage, a loan, which you don't pay taxes on, which tax is like 50% of your income. It goes to the government. Again, you don't pay taxes on that debt, and then you can cash flow it. Like that's a no-brainer to me. Like this greenhouse that I'm in right now, it's an Airbnb that I rent the rooms out at, and I bought it at a 7.7 interest rate, and everyone's like, oh my God, how could you do that? And I'm like, because like my tenants pay my mortgage for me. They're building my equity and my wealth. Like you have a VA loan, like definitely use that shit as many times as you possibly can, because you've earned that benefit. But if you think about it, people that are renting, I tell them like, I have 6 houses and you're paying more money in rent. Even if you have like 3 roommates, you're still paying more money in rent, and you're not building any equity. You're just paying off the owner's or your landlord's house. So not to go too deep down that rabbit trail.
No, it's good stuff. Josh, did you have a mentor when you were transitioning from military to real estate?
I did not. I somehow, and it sounds crazy when you think about it, but I really just like, I followed a lot of the right people on Instagram, social media, watched a lot of YouTube, managed to link up with some of the investment groups that would have just different speakers talk about just different things, and kind of, learned a lot. But I just decided I was just going to make that decision and roll with it. Right. And so there wasn't a lot of people that taught me about Airbnb. A lot of times people in the area are asking me about it. And I've spoken several times at different, conferences and stuff, but yeah, it's really like you're gonna learn the most. Like a lot of people are, and paralysis by analysis, right? They're afraid to make that jump, but I mean, you're gonna learn the most when you pull the trigger, and you'll be all right. You have that survival instinct, especially if you've been in the military and have a military background, even, and you're gonna be fine, but you'll learn a ton, and you'll find yourself kind of, you know, like getting further and further ahead a lot faster. And for me in particular, it's because I take a lot of risks, and I'm still here. So
Yeah, you're
did you have or did you manage your first Airbnbs by yourself, or did you have like a framework for how you set up the management of those first Airbnbs?
yeah, no, I did it all myself. Started just doing Airbnb, then got good enough to where I can connect it to Verbo. Then eventually I was like, all right, I need some sort of management software. Started looking into those, and that makes my job a lot easier. And started pushing, because most people, I'd say about like 50% of people, and this is just me spitballing, are on Verbo as well as Airbnb. A lot of people are just on Airbnb only. And I'd say about 15% are on booking.com, Airbnb, and Verbo. Um, yeah. So it's one of those things. You don't want to just fish in one pond. You want to cast a wide net and try to bring in and give yourself the opportunity to bring in the most money, and that's why investing in a property management software will allow you to push it's essentially marketing your business for you on all these platforms. And in turn, you bring them, like the goal is to bring them to your direct booking website so that you can up the price and still give them a discount, and everybody wins. And you're not paying host fees. So you're like, making a good percentage, like 20% more by just booking them directly.
Does Airbnb, oh, sorry, Pat.
Oh, no. Josh, you started talking about software, which is like what everyone wants to talk about, but also I saw Savannah asking about horror stories, and looks like Katie's got a question. So we'll prolong the software discussion. Katie, do you want to fire away?
Oh, so I don't have a question. I was saying I had a horror story. We had to do a cease and desist not too long ago. My poor mom, oh my God, it was awful. Like we were ready for someone to show up at our house. But we're like, yeah, that's your problem if you show up at our house at that point. It's not ours anymore. We know castle laws. But yeah, no, sorry. I don't have a question. If you want to let the room open for questions. We just had a horror story with an Airbnb not too long ago.
Josh, I know you got some horror stories because you've told me a couple of them. What, like the one with the old guy, right? Who like threatened.
I want to hear that one again. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that one was actually kind of bland compared to some of the other ones, but
really? Jeez.
Yeah, that guy just he was like, yeah, I told him, the accommodation fare per night, like what the nightly rate is, and of course that doesn't include Airbnb taxes, tourist taxes, cleaning fees, all that. And he asked me how much a night was, and a couple of nights, and I was like, well, they're going for about $89 or whatever. And then he told me we had a contract and like was threatening me and all kinds of stuff. And then he apologized, and he went in and he wanted to watch a football game, and it took him forever to get it started. And he like also threatened me, and I'm like, well, I'm in a different city. But that was kind of mild compared to another one. The probably the worst one or funniest one that I had was like, we had our cleaners show up, and they just there was no movement in the windows. I was messaging, calling the guests, nothing happened. 30 minutes later, call the cops. They go in there, do a health and welfare inspection. So you have that tool in your kit bag if you need to do that. Which Florida is actually like doubling down on their squatter laws. So
yeah,
I don't know how that's gonna like affect Airbnbs and stuff that, with people that don't have leases, but I mean, I don't know. But that'd be awesome. That's definitely a step in the right direction. But they went in there and essentially they were high on meth and confiscated a lot, needles. There was I got a picture of a girl that was in handcuffs. Her back was turned, and so there was no faces or anything. There was a cop there, and I posted it, and it was kind of funny. But you know, you shouldn't just do drugs if you want to, like just get out when you're supposed to get out. You know what I mean? There was they taped the curtains down. They you know, propped up my barbell to the attic space so it couldn't open up. And then there was like blood on sheets. It was like they were paranoid and it was crazy. But and then people, it's so crazy that I got this response because I had the Will Ferrell like cap cut meme where he's like from the other guys. I think he's like, and he's typing on a keyboard. He's like, that didn't go the way that you thought it did it? Nope. And then so it was just kind of funny, and I posted it. All these people were like, "You're an evil man," you know. You ruined that guy's life, and I'm like, there was like zero responsibility. It was like hilarious, and I was just going back and forth, like, yeah, I made him take a needle and shoot it in his arm, like, you know what I mean, like 100%, you know. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was one of the
we
wild
had this
ones.
crazy guy, one of the ones I managed for a client, super weirdo. Like I already got the vibe. I was like, something's weird with this guy. Like he
Mhm.
needs friends. He's lonely, and my mom and I are his friends now at this point. You know what I mean? Like I already got that
Uh-huh.
vibe, and I was like, so I was trying to very diplomatically not be rude or unprofessional, but make sure he understood, like, we're not here to hang out with you on the weekends. We just, if you need
Yeah.
something important, you need it. But if you don't, and then he said, he was like, I'm in the hospital. He had was it the flu or so? He pretty much made it sound like he was on his deathbed. He like sends
Yeah.
me these photos of him in the hospital. It was really weird altogether in the first place. But he had cats, and he's like, no one's there all weekend to feed my cats. Like, please, can you just feed my cats? And I was nice enough to be like, shit, maybe we should feed his cats. I don't want his cats to die. He's already given me the creeps. We already don't like him. He's already a pain in the ass.
got
But
9
whatever.
lives.
I send my poor mom there. I don't go. I send my poor mom there, and this man comes out of his room. He hears my mom come in, and she knocks. She like announces herself. Nobody comes, so she assumes he's in the hospital, like he said he was. And she goes in the kitchen to feed his cats, and she's calling the cats, and he's met her, so he knows her voice. He comes out butt naked.
I
And my
knew it.
poor mom's just like, no, sir. She backs out of there. Thank God she got out of there so quick. And then we were like, dude, you just got to go. Like,
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
and then it was legal jargon, World War II at that point. Like, we sent him a cease and desist. That didn't matter to him. Yeah, he was like burning out in his. He was. Oh my god, he was the worst. But
Jesus.
anyway, we got rid of him. So there's that. You know, he definitely doesn't understand landlord-tenant law in Georgia. So that was on our side. But whatever.
Nuts.
Josh, I want to ask, you said that whenever you got started in Airbnb, you started renting out single rooms at a time.
Mhm.
And I've always felt weird renting an Airbnb, like going on Airbnb and getting a single room. So
Mhm.
how did your thought process work for that? And it sounds like you still do single room at a time rentals. So are they more profitable than entire property? Do they fill
No.
up as much?
So yeah, you'll get bookings year round. And I mean, you know, for me, it's like I'm always looking for ways to allow my business to pay for my personal living expenses. That's really the key there, right? Like a lot of people buy new cars, phones every year, all these things that just deplete their bank accounts. But when you're able to start a business and then, you know, have these tax write-offs, you have rental properties. So there's the short-term rental loops, the Augusta rule, the um, short-term rental loopholes. I don't know if I said that. Cost segregation, depreciation, appreciation. You got all these things that are working for you. That's going to make your life a lot easier. And then if you live below your means on top of that, you know, I had 2 Jeep rentals because I did Turo as well, and recently sold those. 'Cause I'm not a huge fan of. I mean, it was great when there was a microchip shortage, but you know, I rode that out for the first year or two, and then you know it just kind of tanked from there. It got oversaturated. So, but yeah, I kind of dabbled. But to get to your point, like absolutely, if you can sacrifice, like the bigger the sacrifice, the bigger the reward, and that statement holds true. And the more I do it, the more I see I'm able to kind of regain ground quicker. And you know, I'm not really paying my mortgage. You know, I pay like maybe a couple $100, maybe, but most of the time it's paid for. So it's an easy decision for me. You know, I can kind of live below my means. You know, my room has like everything in it. I slowly become like less and less reliant on or needy for having like all these things. And, you know, I'm able to kind of pack up and leave if I need to, but I found it pretty easy.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So
To make you cut you off on your story, Kate. That does sound unfortunate.
It happens. It's part of the game. One thing I recommend to everyone here, whether you do short-term leases or you do, sorry about the background noise, but or you do long-term, whatever your game is. I've done property management 12 years, all kinds. I make sure that communication is listed in my lease. Because people are psychotic and they're crazy and they think that they deserve boundaries to you that they don't deserve. So I just looked at my lease very obviously I don't put the word boundaries in my lease, but communication is listed. So they'll like to say, well, I told you this, or I said that, or, you know, you didn't call me in the hour that I texted you. It's all listed in my lease, how they're supposed to communicate. It doesn't mean that I won't call them right back. It doesn't mean that I won't text them back, but it's specifically listed that if they become an issue to me, I don't want to lose, like, I don't want vacancy loss because people are crazy, but I can force them to email me. And then they just kind of, normally that puts their crazy in check anyways. And it just kind of mitigates the problem. So I can go back to my lease and say, hey, like, per your lease agreement, you're supposed to email me if you have an issue. So please email me your problem. And then the psycho kind of calms down a lot. With most, I'd say 80% of people, if you force them to put their problems in writing, they calm down a lot because then they know that it's being tracked and 90% of your problems with them go away. So I make sure that's in my lease as well. Just something to recommend out there.
It's a fair point.
yeah, that's interesting. All right. I want to dig into the software, the nerd stuff. So, and I remember you telling me about Guesty like years ago. Actually, I think the best, if I'm like, man, what's the best tip I got from Josh? It was to ditch the stupid August locks and go with the Schlages. That was the game changer. Oh my God. The house I'm in right now has 2 of them and I just hate them. I hate them. I can't even
They're
factor.
so bad.
Yeah. Okay. So software, Guesty, you've been using it for a while, but you mentioned earlier, like integrating different software tools like into Guesty. So would you mind just giving us like a once over the world of your whole suite of software tools that you use?
Yeah. Can I take over the screen?
Yeah, you should be able to.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, we'll do that. At the
You should
bottom,
be able to screen
allow
share.
screen. Cool. And then presenter, large screen. Can't say, I need permissions. Select Safari. Sorry. Safari, settings, websites. What are we on? Google Meet. Turning it on. It should work. Try this again.
I'm surprised Savannah hasn't chimed in yet. This is normally where she starts berating me
No. What?
or calling me a boomer if I can't do something on the computer.
No,
Okay.
y'all are both boomers. It's okay.
Okay, you're muted, Josh.
All right. I'm gonna try it one more time to see if it works, and then if not, I can just because this is Google Meet, right?
Mm-hmm.
It should be present now on the bottom.
Yep. Visiting other sites on share to devices. So I'll go here, share screen. Reaction. That's FaceTime.
I think share screen will do it.
Let's grant permissions. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. But yeah, I can just give you guys a once over, unless you want me to keep trying because I can.
What are you trying to pull up?
Um,
Is it
so-
Guesty?
Well, yeah, I'm just trying to screen share, and it's telling me. Let me try allow share window.
Yeah, that should.
Is
There we
that
go.
working?
Boom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Improvisation. All right. So it's not this window I want to share. I want to share my Google Chrome window. How do I get out of this?
It's like that illusion where like
Can you guys see the whole screen or just the window?
We could just see the browser.
Yeah, we look like serial killers, Kim and I in chat.
That's standard.
Okay.
We
Well,
look
let
like
me-
we're like Solution in the
Okay,
back.
we could see that now. Oh, whatever.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and log in. This is just rev share from EXP. Nothing crazy. Hold on one second. I'm gonna log in now. I usually use Chrome for Guesty, but this should work. You guys can still see my screen?
yep.
Cool.
Yeah, we got Guesty up.
We could see your passwords too.
No, you can't.
Oh,
Cool. I'll try to hold this with one. And
Yeah, it's like you got to have the mouse in one hand and your mic
Yeah.
in the
we're gonna figure this
Nice.
out.
there we go.
All right, cool.
It's good view.
So, all right. So, this one's like by far my worst one. That was the first one I picked up from someone else, and it's horrible. I didn't set the expectations, but if you look on here, this is Guesty, right? You have booking.com. This is a direct booking. This is a direct booking. They're just like, if I put it in, or if they just go on my website and book, then it'll show a different emblem. So Vrbo, Airbnb, of course, those are the top three, right? If you're not pulling from all three of those, then you're kind of falling behind. This is even Hopper is what I'm on as well.
Hopper.
So yeah, that's like number 4. Like that's I do get more of Hopper than anything else outside of those top 3.
Josh, what
But-
are the percentages like roughly between the top 3? I assume Airbnb's a large chunk.
The cheapest, actually. So you mean how much do they charge owners and
No, I'm
hosts?
sorry. Like what percentage of your reservations are Airbnb? What percentage is booking? What percentage is?
Oh yeah. So you can, I mean, I would say about 70% is like is Airbnb. Somewhere in there, and then Vrbo is like another 10% is booking.com. But that's starting to grow more and more. So the cool thing about this right here, right, is I can pull all this data, right? And it shows like Booking Engine is it's like my direct booking software. HomeAway is Vrbo. So you can kind of see like, oh, okay, like Josh created manual booking here, booking.com. Kind of came in late in the game. This is 2023. But this is just one property, right? So like the cool thing about Guesty is you can pull all these analytics and see, all right, what did they do each month? And so you can kind of figure out what's best for you. You can even see, where most of your money is going, generally, like a general overview. You could see, just different things. And I haven't been on here in a little bit, but like occupancy rates and just different things. And you can select different listings here. Like they'll pop up any minute.
So Josh, how do you think 2024 is going to compare to 2023?
I
Or
mean,
like,
yeah, I think, I mean, I still, as you can see here, I'm 88%. I still think it'll be generally that. You just have to be flexible with the price. And I mean, really, like one of the biggest things is just being able to differentiate yourself with other people.
Mhm.
Like this one has like really bad photos, and I'm just at the point where I'm just gonna take my photographer in there and just have her redo it. Just because that was my first one, and we never got like proper photos done, and the owner didn't want to pay for them. So I'm kind of at the point where I'll just do it myself. And anytime you guys just inject if you have a question. So these are all the different distribution platforms I can be on. So I'm on Google Vacation Rentals. even Plum Guide, you know, and I never had a booking on them, but they only accepted like 4 of them out of the 16 that I have. Solely because like they have a certain requirement for, you know, their platforms.
Hmm.
So these are just different things you can connect with it. Like, I mean, you can get in here, right? Like Minute, that's like monitors noise and stuff. Connect it with that. Breezeway is a cleaning software that you can use. Like, if you go through here, like there's so much stuff that I haven't even heard of. You know, Google Sheets, Guesty Pay is like Stripe. Wheelhouse is what I use for my revenue management. I'll pull that up too. That's like really badass. Love Wheelhouse. Wheelhouse and Price Labs are like similar.
What do you mean revenue management?
So here I'll pull it up. Wheelhouse. Oops, don't unsubscribe. I usually use, like I said, Google Chrome. So like, just have to search it, pull it up.
So when you think short-term rental property management, you've got the booking aspect of it, and you've got the cleaning aspect of it. What are the other kind of big categories that you're managing as you're managing your short-term rentals?
So actually, let me put this in real quick. I think I remember this. This requires a lot of concentration.
Jesus.
Yes, got it. I just restructured like how I create passwords and I forgot that I did that. Sorry, say that question again, man.
Sorry, I asked you while you're trying to focus.
Oh, you're good.
So when you're looking at managing short-term rentals, you've got the actual booking aspect of it. You've got the cleaning aspect of it, getting a cleaner in there after every rental. What are the other kind of big ticket main categories that you're managing to keep the property rolling strong?
Yeah, you really need good boots on the ground. I mean, unless you're just going to do everything yourself, which, you know, you're going to learn a lot and then you can figure out how to scale your business once you kind of do everything yourself. But, you know, having your handyman, plumber, just having people on speed dial, HVAC tech, those are very, very helpful. Your cleaner, like you mentioned, should essentially be like he or she should fulfill a property manager role, in the sense where they're like cleaning. They're not just cleaning; they're staging stuff. You know, they're taking inventory of sheets and towels because, like, believe it or not, guests take towels all the time, and it's hard to prove theft. It just is. So like good inventory is very crucial. Um, you know, with the deep cleans and everything else, and then creating that relationship with your cleaner, because that's going to be a very strong component of your business is your cleaning team. And I've gone through about 6 of them. So the ones that I have now, I've had them for about a year and a half, and I absolutely love them. They're great. So doing that is important. And I manage that through a website called Turno, and I'll pull this up too. Turno.
Now, Josh, when you started though, like you were not employing this many software tools.
No, I started with just Airbnb and then used their like their dynamic pricing tool and stuff. So I think I forget what they called it, but that's what I used. And you know, you just kind of grow from there. You're like, okay, like how can I get better? And then you start to implement certain things, and then next thing you know, you're doing this on a bigger scale. So another thing, like as you grow, I have virtual assistants. So people ask me like, how do I manage 16 properties? And this doesn't even include the Blue Heron, which is Pat's, but and Savannah's. But you know, virtual assistants, they like I barely look at my messages anymore. I'll glance at them here and there, but they create. Here, I'll show you some. This is pretty cool. They'll create. So in your listing here, you go to save replies. And as they're like asking me, so this is for all listings. Like, all right, if they ask about early check-in, this is what you click. Pet fees, They lost a Roku TV remote. Always use Roku because you can just tell them to download the app and then they can control it from their phone. So it doesn't force you to get up and replace a Roku TV remote, which it's not like you're going to have those in your garage or something. But,
Like
and then they could say,
toilet paper.
what's that?
Said like extra rolls of toilet paper. Like,
Yeah, exactly. And communicate, like you got to communicate like, hey, you're only getting 2 rolls of toilet paper per bathroom. Like you're not going to get more than that. And then they won't ask you for more. So for the most part. And then these are save replies for each one. In my virtual assistants, right? This communication service here, they're like literally asking everything. And they have all these prompts, and I'm pretty sure they're all robots. They're not actually real people, but there is a hotline that they can call if they're locked out too. So, once you hit friction points like, hey, I'm locked out, or the code, or the August lock, like you got an old couple and they don't know how to download the app, and then, it automatically connects to your Airbnb. You learn like, okay, let me just get a normal digital lock that I can change. And that's going to reduce that friction point, because if you're not watching your phone and they get locked out for an hour and it's raining, like that's going to be very bad. So reducing those friction points are big. I thought it was like a lock software was great. It sounds good. Like it changes the code for you every guest and syncs. But at the same time, the Wi-Fi or internet wouldn't be strong, and then it wouldn't generate that code. And then I'd be in the same position. And then I just said, screw the lock software. But yeah, so those are some key things that you definitely want to do as you kind of begin to grow. And then eventually you get, I'm actually in the middle of hiring Casey, which Pat and Savannah and I know, but she's going to manage like the new rental in Niceville. So.
Yeah, I need to learn from you guys very much on the virtual assistant stuff. I need that really bad right now. And I've been hesitant and dragging my feet on it, but could definitely use y'all's advice and pointers there.
Yes, Savannah, would you just post a link to Upwork?
Upwork. Yeah. So Upwork is a platform that you could search for various virtual assistants across many different categories, from marketing, to property management, to business advice. Like they have everything. And you just post a job and people just apply, and you can go interview them. It's your casual, just videos, and find someone that you like.
Yeah, I get a lot of Facebook messages from people trying to be a virtual assistant, but they all look like they also have an OnlyFans, and none of them look like they're any bit of professional. So I'm, I don't know.
That sounds like a 2-for-1, double value.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Turno's also a great one. If you don't have cleaners, you could see reviews and stuff. I can't get on it from Safari, so it's like killing me, but it'll allow you to like pick cleaners, or they can vote on a job, and then you show up to the property, they have their reviews, they give you a price, and then you can start a relationship that way with someone that's got some credibility that you don't know. So there's that. This is Wheelhouse here. So if you go into Wheelhouse, right, you could see here it shows like the observe. If I move the mouse, it'll kind of move, but it'll show observed pricing, current settings, and then recommended pricing, base price, minimum price, stuff like that for each house. And so it can kind of, as you move it, you can kind of see and predict. You can create all kinds of rules in here. So if you're like, man, I really want to book this date, click. All right, there it is. You can just drag it, right? And then select a few days, and then you're like, hey, I want to like give a 25% discount, right? And then it'll mark it up or down, whatever you put. You can also do fixed, and then you can preview it. But you can also get in here, and then, it'll tell you like, hey, this is what our recommended price is, aggressive price. How aggressive do you want to be from a seasonal standpoint, day of the week. And then you can do a lot of rule-based stuff where you can say, hey, I want this, Saturdays or Fridays, Saturdays, which are already up 5%. I want it to go up 10%, and then you can last minute bookings, you can have it data driven, or you can do rule based where like within one day, you're going to, drop it 25%. And then within 3 days, you can drop it 15. 7 days, 10%. So it's like kind of cool that you can automate this. So you're not like pulling data from different, looking on Airbnb and saying like, oh man, this house is that, and I need to like adjust it.
So just to recap, Josh, so you use Guesty for STVR property management, kind of like an overview, and then you use this tool, Wheelhouse, to fine tune the pricing
Mm-hmm.
and automate it. Okay.
Yep.
And do they link to each other?
Absolutely. Yep. So like here it is right here. It's connected. So every price you see on there, like you'll get it connected and then you're like, hey, it doesn't match. But like you just talk to them on the chat and they're like, okay, like we're looking in it. Try it now once you upgrade to this. Like, and it's $16 per listing a month. So if you're taking on rentals, you can charge the owners a like a subscription fee. Because I do pay a lot of money. Yeah, and I do pay a lot of money for all these subscriptions to obviously it helps automate my business, but I'm also help generating the owner more income, So and it's taking, data from the market and then pushing it and putting it on the website. So it's a win-win, right? And so I only charge owners $50 for subscriptions a month, and then it pays for stuff like this.
So when you were like tweaking the price by 5% on that one day, it's then going to go to all the different specific booking sites and adjust the price. Now, is it just adjusting like the base price? Because like, what if the base price is the same, but each of these platforms has their own like fees? So is the price actually still consistent across like the different platforms?
Yeah, so here's all the platforms here that I'm on, right? But to answer your question, so the accommodation fare, the base price is just like, this is the price that I think is the median price for this property. And the accommodation fare, right? So like what you see right here, that's just for the nightly rate. So it doesn't include cleaning. It doesn't include, taxes, because that'll fluctuate based on how many days you select,
Right.
And so, this is just super great because you can, and I'll actually like pull up my website too, but I can create a reservation. And it sounds like, yeah, you should be able to, you can do that on Airbnb, but like here, you can actually put it in here, and then you could use things like StayFi, right? Which you put in your house, and then it forces them to put their email addresses in when they connect to the Wi-Fi, and then you can spam them, right? You can send them marketing, put them on campaign drips and stuff like that to bring them back to your rental and keep you on top of mind, right?
And if they come back
Mm-hmm.
and they already know you, then they can book directly with you, right? Which saves everyone money.
Yeah. And so, I mean, if you see this, like people call me crazy, but you see how June is pretty much blocked. Like, I mean, these two, like these are my rooms. So I just keep those open. It's like nothing crazy, but, you could see like little reservations here and there. Those are direct bookings. Right. So like one of them we kept open just because the owner wanted it. But like these are all direct bookings that they're repeat guests, and I'll keep them saved in my like email Outlook for contacts. And then, all these guys are they're booked directly. And I tell them that too. It's like, hey, no, we want to save that for you guys. But in the next few days, I'll open up June to start getting everyone booked out in June. Here's something that I want to talk about. If you're doing a if you're trying to do your own website, or let's say you just book them and you're like, yeah, don't worry about it, I'll just take $200, right? That puts you in a very bad situation. You could actually like be held liable for a lot of different things. You've got zero protection, right? So like what Guesty offers is Guesty Shield, which I've rebranded, to Ronin Shield, but it's really cool. Yeah. I've got my own like marketing thing that I send to people that are, just like, what does it all cover? Here's a little PowerPoint thing. But oh shit, I think I just clicked the house. So like, yeah.
Have you used it yet?
What, the claim?
Yeah, the shields.
Yeah, this is all Shield stuff.
Oh wow.
There's a couple that weren't qualified. But this is a crazy one, right? So I'll open up this one. This is the very last one. It just got approved today. So what it does, God damn it. Why did it do that? Yeah, let me go here. So what it does is it will allow me, so the guest pays $40, right? When a guest pays for a reservation, let's look at this guy, right? We go in here. Paid, right? So like in here, cleaning fee, 160, Stripe processing fee, insurance, $40. It cost me $37 per reservation. I charge the guest that. I even charge them a management fee, for other things, and then pet fee, and then the host channel fee. That's what I collect and pay on behalf of owners, and myself. But you charge the guests, like you can negotiate that with Guesty, and this is Ronin Shield, right? So like you go in here, Ronin Shield is better than Guesty Shield, and so here like they cover everything up to $5,000 per reservation. So this person, right, they knocked out the glass in my rental. And so like this, like the outside glass is good, but the inside glass is busted. There was glass everywhere here. You could kind of see it when I click on it, but they broke this toy box. They like ripped some sheets and like there's some other stuff. And so these are all the new pictures of the 2 new French doors that were put in. So we went back and forth, provide photos of the new door. I gave them the invoice from my contractor. They said, hey, it's 3,000 whatever dollars. And I got the whole thing approved today, right? So this is approved. I don't have to talk to the guests, which is great. I can book them directly on my website, so it reduces my liability. It even covers like bed bugs and, ozone machines if someone smokes on your property, even unoccupied days. So you would just file that, and then they ask you a few questions. Here's my like thing for, the sheets that I got replaced, and, and then they just approve it. So it's like really like a really cool, like peace of mind type thing if you book them off platform.
Yeah, because Josh, like every platform has their own approach to insurance.
Yeah.
Like I'm not managing my Airbnbs anymore, but I remember being very dissatisfied with VRBO's policy because it was confusing and not straightforward. And it was
Yeah.
annoying because like on some platforms, right, like guests can opt out of it. Like there's different levels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they can deny everything too. And that's the tough part, right? So like theft is really hard. If I do have a case of theft, like, and then you always have to worry about retaliation, right? Like what are they going to do if I say that they, stole something and then they're like, "No, I didn't," and they know that their kid did or something, and then you can't prove it. And so, a lot of times Airbnb, if you're like a super host, I think I have 900 and something reviews. They see you and they're like, they're willing to help you out as you become a super host, as you consistently become a super host. Those platforms will definitely try to help you out because you're making them money, So, there's just certain things. And then I just go to the guests if they're like, all right, you didn't pay me, you didn't pay, or you took this, like I can't get this for my damage waiver protection thing, but I'm going to charge you and try to get it back. And then you just have to charge the owners if they decline it, which sucks, but it just kind of is what it is. But that's kind of the levels of how I approach that. They can even run a car into your house and outside, like exterior, they do donuts in your yard and you need new sod, it will cover up to 25 grand. So it's pretty good.
You mentioned that like it's something that happened at one of your places.
Yeah. All kinds of stuff happens. It's great. I mean, the higher the risk, the higher the reward, right? Like that's what we're talking about. So
yeah.
But so here's some cool things too with this, right? So like you can go to messages and here, like these are what I call workflows. And so, I mean, you really have to nerd out on this stuff, right? Like you have to nerd out on it or you're not going to learn.
Yeah, this is looking more like tech, like understanding anything.
Yeah, definitely. Whoops. So this is like, this comes out, right? And so let me go to edit these. So this is the 6 automated messages that go to all my reservations or all my bookings. So as soon as they book, it's like, hey, you see how they've got these brackets here? So it automatically puts their first name in there. Thanks so much for booking, the Ocean House and supporting Ronan Sage, your local veteran-owned company. I throw in a little bio about myself, and then it pulls like their check-in, check-out dates, and then the total guests. I have some admin stuff. I send them a rental agreement through this. So they sign an actual rental agreement that I have yet to like put in front of a lawyer. This is just a generic guesty one that lets them know, like, don't fuck around. Which, smart people are gonna be like, yeah, this thing has all kinds of holes in it, but it's something, right? You're gonna get there slowly but surely. But yeah, that's the next thing is like getting this in front of a lawyer that does real estate in Florida. I pitched like this. I get a lot of clients from this. Here's the address. It automatically pulls the address. Here's some things to do. And so like, right, this is like, hey, book these things. Make sure you check out this. Here's some hospitals if you need it, check-in instructions, when those are going to get sent. Thanks for booking with me. And then here it's like, here's my favorite things to do, right? Favorite place to eat. And then I have a separate check-in message for each individual ones. These goes to all the properties. Then there's a checkup message like, hey, I hope everything's going well. There's a checkout instructions. And then like the final is like, hey, make sure you review us. Right. And the way that you kind of change everything is like you can go in here and it's really cool. So like the custom fields, you can create more custom fields, but all these are like, if you just put the brackets and check-in instructions, the Bella Breeze check-in instructions will come from here, right? The Wi-Fi, and this is just like a few sentences, right? But like all these are check-in instructions pretty much. It shows like when the trash gets taken out, what the house rules are, the laundry, how that works, where's the cleaning supplies, beach equipment. And so you plug in all these items and then it just automatically populates this for that specific one. So you can have an automation for all 15 properties, right? You can exclude some, be specific, or even rule base it by channel. And then, have specific ones for like Georgia, some for Florida, right? And then all you have to do is like, you auto populate those different, custom fields. And then next thing you know, like you're communicating and everyone's getting information they need and they're happy. And then every time they ask a question, I'm like, okay, should this be in my messages? Or is this guy an idiot? So like you always have to ask that. But at first, when you first start off, like you want less and less questions. So you want to definitely like improve your messaging as you go to reduce your time that you're spending with these people.
So it sounds like, Josh, you like err on the side of over communicating.
Yeah. If they want to read it all, I do that. And for those that don't read any of my stuff, like I'll put the check-in code at the very bottom because I do it by like, all right, here's where you park. Here's the total amount of parking spaces. If it's a room, like the left lane is for the guests in room A, the right lane's for the guests in room B, and like so on and so forth. And then it's like, all right, here's the code. All right, once you check in, here's where your room's at. Here's where, if it's a whole house, it sounds a little different. Here's the address before you get to the house, So it works in like chronological order. But yeah, sorry, did I answer that question, Pat? I kind of lost track of what you said.
No, yeah, you're good, dude.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You even got like automatic responses, right? Because they'll ding you on Airbnb for not responding quick enough. So it's like, boom, hey, Pat, thanks for your interest in the Verb House. I'll be right with you. And it puts that in 20 minutes. And then, so that way you don't get dinged for that. I can auto review all my guests. So it cycles through all of these, right? So like it'll just automatically review the guest for me. Now, if the guest was, a naughty guest, right, you can just go in here and then you go to the person and you just turn the auto review off, which is awesome, and then it just won't auto review them after a day, but it gives my cleaners a day to let me know like, hey, these guys were good guests, these guys were bad guests. If they're bad, I'm going to not review them and then submit a claim if I need to, or just go through my property management website or my Gessie, Ronan Shield, and then I'll just review them how I review them. But yeah, so it's kind of how like some cool things to do that
So,
save you some
Josh,
time.
how
Mhm.
often are you actually going into the platforms? Or are you once you set this up, you don't really go back into them directly?
No, so you're gonna spend the most time with Airbnb. So like, you go over here and as I fill out these like let's say I just start a new listing, um, and you're gonna go down here to marketing, right? Here's all the pictures. Look, here's even a sweet PowerPoint that I learned how to do back in my military days.
I was gonna say that looks still here.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's great. But here are all the channels and stuff. Uh, shoot, I kind of lost my train of thought again. What the heck is going on? What was I just talking about?
Oh my God.
Or I got distracted by this PowerPoint. That's what happened. So he talked about save replies.
You're talking about like auto reviews and auto replies. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, oh yeah, going back to other platforms, right? How much time do you spend in other platforms? So if you go to, and they kind of just recently shifted some things on here. Let me see details and layout. I think property, because this used to be down in marketing, right? So you're gonna list your property on here, and you're gonna click all the amenities and stuff, and like these different circles are for different websites, Airbnb, all of these, and you click them and you're like, cool, they translate, right? But not all of them will translate, so you still have to go into here and like go through your amenities and definitely like click through all of these, because there will be like half of them if not more, so you constantly have to like fine tune this. But once it's up and running, you don't really have to go back. Once you do have like uh once you do have like it pretty much set up, you do have to have like for booking.com, I hate like booking.com is horrible, but you can't even book and say that you're bringing a pet. So guests are always like, well, why didn't you ask for if I was bringing a pet up front? And I'm like, well, it says in the communication, like, make sure you annotate pets. But yeah, so I'm constantly going through back and forth with that. But like here, it's what you'll have to do is like when you go in here, it's like you look at, so I kind of update these as I go. These are older. I go more over here, right? Like this dude, 563. Like I have to go into booking.com, look at reservations for, all of May, and then his will pop up, show reservations, and I just make sure he pays, and then I go back in here and then I just update it. So it'll be, it's kind of cool because like you go here and you can charge them from your Stripe account. This connects to Stripe. And what you'll do is you can send them an invoice, right? So like you send them an invoice. It's very professional. The invoice, like if you preview it, pop up window blocked. Here we go. Like it says like, hey, here's the invoice number. Here's your confirmation code, issue date, name, all the information, breakdown, and then you put your card in and then you submit it. That'll just go straight to here. It'll notify me and say, hey, you got, a credit card. And then I just go to payment actions and then pay. So there's different options that come up once they upload their card. This automatically charges it 7 days out. So I try to collect cards like as soon as they book. I'll send them like the invoice link and then they book. So that's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a bunch of other stuff, man. Like there's so much stuff in
Realize
here.
how robust like Guesty had got and how all these other tools had gotten too.
Yeah, I mean, I can run owner statements, right? So like let's say, let me just pull up the legacy menu.
No, I love a software that's a one-stop shop. Like just again, like work smarter, not harder. Get everything in at once in the same software, one site, and shoot.
Yep.
From start to finish, you're done.
No, it's freaking awesome. I absolutely love it. And I feel the same way that, when we first talked, Pat, like this Gassy is the way to go, 100%. So we'll just pull up one of these guys. So you just download this, right? It's like this goes out every month, and then the owners have something in their hand that they can look at. Can you guys see that? Okay.
I see you can generate the statement, but it didn't pop up.
Oh, because it's a PDF.
Josh,
Yeah, just click it. It'll open up.
is Guesty primarily
top right.
for? Wait,
I
hold
got
on.
it opened up, but it's on a PDF, so
Yeah.
it's not.
You should
it's
be able
not
to open
showing.
that up in the browser. If you right click and open with browser.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Open. So I just right clicked. Open.
You go to your
No.
binder. Like your recent downloads.
Showing. Oh yeah, recent downloads. Okay.
Yeah.
Downloads. Owner statement. Yep.
I got to bounce, team. This has been
Yeah.
awesome, Josh.
Hey, yeah, man. It's good to meet you. And
I can't believe it's 8:10 already. We should.
Yeah, we're like 10 minutes over, y'all.
We'll wrap
Yeah.
it up. Don't worry
Yeah.
about the owner statement.
Yeah. Next
sure
time.
But Josh,
Boom, here you go.
thanks so much for coming on. Oh, there you go. Perfect.
Yeah. So this just, I mean, real quick, this just looks like, here's a rental income. Here's how much you had to pay, like Verbo, Booking.com, all these other stuff. This is what I owed the owner. And then this is what he owed me in supplies and the ending balance. I already paid him for this, so it'll update the balances automatically. But it shows like each rental income. So this is one that I own with a buddy of mine, and we had a deal where he didn't pay me any management fees, and I just managed it for free. Terrible choice. Pick your business partners very selectively. But yeah, so it'll break down like how much they're netting after your management fee, and then lastly, like towel replacements, and I can attach like, this is how much it costs,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. You just want to be like very, very well rounded, and as you start, you want to grow, and then ensure that you're doing things on a professional level and a larger scale to make it as easy as possible for you, and then accommodate the owners as best as you can, and then you'll naturally attract more clients.
Love it. Okay. I am going to wrap up this call unless anyone has any other final questions.
I think.
I got one. Sorry.
Damn it, Katie. I'm just kidding.
No, you go first, Savannah. You go first.
No. I was just saying the Josh will have to do like a software like kind of like tutorial call with you for YouTube. But go ahead, Katie.
Do any of you guys do any kind of like unique Airbnb or Verbo stuff, like boats, weird cabins, weird stuff? Because we're really into that.
That's awesome.
I was
I
trying
wish.
to get we're remodeling the other side of the duplex, and I really wanted it to be like a Victorian Gothic theme Airbnb, but Patrick said it would fail.
Wait. First of all, Josh, she's talking about the place in Savannah, not in Fort Walton Beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about
Yeah. I just want to make sure. So Victorian Gothic in Fort Walton Beach would be
weird.
Oh, we are doing the Victorian Gothic thing, and
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Never mind.
I've got like a blue, like I painted, this is a townhouse. I painted it blue, the brick. And I mean, I don't know if the neighbors love me or not. There's no like HOA or anything. And I've never had any complaints. Yellow shutters, yellow door, just made it crazy looking. I really want like unique spaces, kind of like what you're talking about, Catherine. And I think that would be awesome. That's definitely the way to go. Like if you can have like a circular house or like anything that just different, and then just make it really, really good. That's something that you can invest in.
We
and
we
last a long
stayed
time.
Yeah, we stayed on a boat, like a cuddy cabin in the Keys, and it was cheaper than any resort there, and it was the best time we've ever had. And we're both just like, swear to God, we're just like, we were so
Heck
spoiled.
yeah.
It was hard to go anywhere else and be like, oh, they have boats there we can stay on.
Houseboat rentals worth
Yeah.
looking into.
It spoiled us, but
Shit is gangster.
we're really into it now. We really want to get into like boat rentals on Airbnb.
Yeah.
So, and if any of you guys had experience with that.
No, I wish like the little Amsterdam vibe, like that'd be awesome.
It was amazing. I can't wait till we can get into it. That's our
That's cool.
big goal here soon. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's the way to go. Like if you're not differentiating, then you're gonna get lost. I mean, a lot of these Airbnb bandwagon hoppers are kind of coming in on the tail end, and they're finding out that it's very hard. And there's a lot of people selling their Airbnbs just because they're unable to differentiate. They kind of went in over their heads. But it's, you have
Not
to
for everyone,
differentiate.
that's for sure.
Yeah, it definitely takes a certain breed. And I'm even learning too, like some of my houses, I'm already planning to sell a few like over the next 2 to 3 years, and then getting something bigger and better, right? That I can really make unique and stuff on the island or something else. But those people are going to start to fade away. And then people that have been around for a while, like, myself, that have like over 100 reviews, which is my goal for each one, are really going to thrive at that point. So that's kind of like my vision and my hopes, how I think it's going to play out. But, diversify, have some long-term rentals just to be safe. And, you can't go wrong that way.
All right.
Good.
No more questions.
Yeah.
Everyone shut up. No, that was great, Josh.
Yeah, thanks.
A few
I'm so sorry. I promise I won't ask any questions, but I wrote down like 12. Josh, can you drop your email in the chat?
Yeah, I'll do that for
and
sure.
I'll just email you. Thanks.
Brian, you don't have any short term, right? Aren't you all long term multi-unit?
All long term, yeah, 26 this month. But I've been playing with short term, so I've been trying to pay attention, but I actually have both my daughters with me, so I've just kept it off the whole time. The other
That's
one passed
awesome.
out actually.
Oh my gosh. Josh, is it okay if I post your information on the Facebook group?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah, and we'll push this out too.
Yep. I already made a post already on the Facebook group with your information, and then we'll push the video and you'll get a copy too, Josh.
Yeah. Awesome.
Before we terminate the call, I have a couple announcements. Just wanted to thank everyone for coming to the happy hour last month. Had like 40 people turn out. Maybe we can get you the next one, Josh.
Yeah, you should really come to the next one.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So we'll do another one next quarter, and then James Spencer wanted to do a little plug for Auburn University. They've got a Master of Real Estate Development program. So if anyone's looking at that, and Mac is in the Masters of Real Estate Development program at Johns Hopkins. So just wanted to throw that out there because I know like a lot of folks don't know that a lot of those programs are kind of new and they don't know that they're out there, but they are, and they're worth looking into. And then the last thing, Ranger Investors is now a part of the Savannah Chamber of Commerce. So
Yay.
if anyone wants to go to those events on behalf of Ranger Investors,
Yep. Definitely take advantage of it.
Yeah, I went and it was super awesome. I loved it. And it's just full of people, like-minded people, lots of opportunities.
People doing things.
All the things.
Stuff.
Stuff and things. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Josh. Thanks, everyone, for coming out.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys. If you guys need anything, all my information's in the chat, and then Pat will push out, my info.